Now, section 7.5. Section 7.5 focus on the word problems. But I would like to say all the problems have two different types of the word problems. First type, I call it is the real order problem. The real order problem means you need to read the question and translate the whole English sentence to become mathematical sentence. And the mathematical sentence means you need to create or you need to find the formula for yourself to solve the order problem. So this is a real type of the order problem. Normally, usually, this type of the order problem, I call it real because you need to find the formula by yourself. And this type of the order problem mostly is shorter than the other type of the order problem. Now, the other type of the order problems, why I don't say it is a really order problem, because this type of the order problem, if you read it carefully, and mostly the sentence is very many sentences for one word problem. And after you read, you may realize, oh, the formula is provided in the word problem. So after you read through the whole very long sentence or many sentences of the word problems, you may find the formula to use. And why the paragraph is so big paragraph for the word problem? Because they try to tell you L means length, for example, and the W means width, or X or T means time. They want to explain this, or T means the year after 2000. So they talk about a lot of detail, but not really hard to understand. Just tell you what's X, what's Y, what's P, what's Q. That's all you have to read through. But actually, when you have a very long and big paragraph for the problem, mostly you may find, I say, inside this garbage, you may find the diamond. What's the diamond? It's the formulas. Okay. Now, today I would like to show you the word problem here. I will say is the second type of the word problem, but the sentence is not too long. In the end you may see very big and long paragraph. But anyway, this type of the word problem, they provide formula for you. So you may just ignore all the garbage directly. Try to find the formula. And then after you find the formula, you try to understand from the paragraph what's X, what's Y, what's K, what's P, what's Q. You try to read more and then understand. Now, this 7.5, why we talk about the formulas? Because let me find a little more space so I can show you why. Okay, let me find more space here. Find a space. I think this space is good enough for me. Okay, so let me choose a good color. Which color is better? Purple. Okay, so algebra 1, we learn the equation. So we learn y equals to 2x plus 5, for example, a linear equation. Or y equals to x squared plus 7. That's a second degree. And we may even learn x cubed plus y cubed equals 1. That's more complicated. But right now we are learning functions. If you try to learn functions, y equals to f of x. Then you need to solve for y. Like the third equation, you need to solve for y. Y cubed equals 1 minus x cubed, and therefore y equals to cube root of 1 minus x cubed. In this case, y has been solved, depends on x, so y can be expressed by the function of x. So, because chapter 7, we are talking about the function. If we're talking about the function, basically we are talking about solve for y and you have a formula. Now, there are so many different type of formula in the whole world. Like a first one, second one, third one, and more and more. Now, among so many formulas, 7.5 only talk about two types of the formula. Okay, I say mostly. Okay, talk about two types of formula. One type we call it looks like this. Y is okay. Let me erase all the work here because we don't mostly those first degree linear function, linear equation we already learned, and if on the order problem you need it, it's not too hard. Second degree parabola is not too hard. Now, today we want to focus on this type. X times y equals to a constant number. For example, x times y equals to 1/2, no matter what's x, what's y. Or you can solve for y is k and x on the denominator. That's the same thing. Okay. So that's the first type. And the second type is y equals to k times x. Or you say y divided by x equals to k. Now you can compare. When you solve for y, let me rewrite here. Okay. Second type, when you solve for y, x is on the numerator for second type. For the first type, x is on the denominator. Or you may have y divided by x equals to k. When you have equals to a constant, you say xy has a constant rate. First type, x times y have the constant product. This is a constant rate. Constant rate means, for example, if x is 1, y is 2, then k is 2, right? Then how about if I times 2 times 2 and 4 divided by 2 still 2. The k constant number, the rate no change. And if I change x to 3, so times 3 times 3, right? So k still 2, no change. Now, in this case, let me show you this example number 3. Y divided by x equals to a constant number means when x double, let me see which one. Yes, okay, so that's the second type. When x double, y need to be 1/2 in order to keep the same rate, right? Did I say wrong here? Yeah, this is y over x equal to k. So when x double, y need to be double, right? And this is, let me see. Yeah. So when x double, y need to be double. When x triple, y need to be triple, right? And I think I just write down something. I forgot to make it 1/2, 1/3, 1/4. I need to do that. Okay. So when x become half, y need to be half. When x become 1/3, y need to be 1/3. When x is 1/4, y need to be 1/4. So in order to keep the same constant, 11 is k. Okay. So this type of the formula, we have a special name called y varies directly. Y varies directly with x. Why we say directly? When x double, y double. They, they grow in the same direction. When they grow in the same, when x and y grows in the same direction. So we say y varies directly with x. Why we don't say x varies directly with y? Yes, we can say that, but usually we solve for y. Okay, and y depends on x. Usually we would like to say that. So y is k times x. Okay, so if you multiply x on both sides, you cancel out the x. So y equals to k times x. So you would like to remember this formula, y equals to k times x, or y divided by x is the same ratio. We call this type of the formula or function or equation, we call it y varies directly with x. Now, on the order problems, sometimes they directly provide you the formula. Sometimes they don't provide you a formula, but they provide you the name of the formula. We call this the name of the formula. Okay, so this section point 5, I said that in the whole world there are so many different types of the formula, and they are going to provide the formula for you, so not too hard, don't worry. And mostly on this section, they are going to provide the formula, only two types. One is direct variation, and the other type is inverse variation. Means when x double, y need to be half. When x half, then y need to be double. So let me show you here. When x times y, the product need to be a constant number. In this case, for example, if x is 2 and y is 3, then k is 6, right? Now, how about if x become 4? How you keep the constant? So y need to be 3 half. So 4 times 3 half will be 6. So when you have 2 times 2, then 3 need to divide by 2 to keep the constant number. So by this way, when x double, y need to be half, I will say x and y grow in the inverse direction. So we call this y varies inversely with x. and you may express the equation by multiplication or by the solve for y by the function form. Okay, y is k over x. So if you solve for y becomes to a function, if x on the denominator, when y is on the numerator, we say it's inversely. So let's suppose write down here. This is inverse. Where is inversely? And this one directly. Directly means when you solve for y, x and y both on the numerator. And the inversely is when you solve for y, x and y, one is numerator, one is denominator. So it's inversely. Now you have to memorize these two formulas. Even though I said in the whole world there are so many different types of formulas, why we need to memorize? Just memorize for now, for this section, because this section is only talking about these two. Okay. Now, other than these two, they may combine the inversely and the directly together with a combination. And you may see other than x and y, you may have x, y, z, p, q, r, more than two variables. K is the constant number, not a variable, but x, y is changing number, we call it variable. Okay. If you have more than two variables, then it may be a combination, and if this combination are all direct variation, then we call it jointly variation. I'm going to talk about that pretty soon. So the basic two formula are, one is direct variation, the other type is inverse variation, and then we have combination or joint variation. So that's the formula we want to work on 7.5. So even though this is the order problem, but you don't need to worry too much. You say, oh, I don't know how to deal with order problem. Basically, you try to find the formula according to the name or the equation they provide, and then you try to use this formula to calculate. So the order problem will provide you the given and the data. You just use them as a information and calculate like a calculating question. Now, when you have a number one, when you have a denominator on your equation, the easiest way is you clear fractions. Clear fraction means you make a denominator disappear. How you make a denominator disappear? As long as you can multiply the common multiple. Common multiple, you have this one, x. One multiple and the two multiple. As long as you multiply these two multiple, you may reduce the denominator. Now, common multiple is one thing, but we would like to work on the least common multiple. Why we want the least common multiple? If you multiply two big multiple, you are going to multiply a big numbers. It's too hard to handle. So we want to try to find the least common multiple. I think we learned that from basic math. So if you have hard time to find the least common multiple, I will reteach you in just ask me question on the lecture hour, on our class hour. So remember algebra 1, we learned how to plus two fraction, subtract two fraction. At that time, you need to find the least common multiple for clear out the denominator. So at that time, we call the least common multiple the same thing. We use another name called least common denominator. So if you remember how to find the least common denominator, This is the same thing. You find the least common multiple. And how to find the least common denominator is not easy to learn. So if you need to relearn the skill, no problem, I can teach you. But it's a long lecture. You need to prepare for that. Okay. Now, number 2, the rate variation. Remember I said the rate variation is which one? This one, right? When you solve for y, x on the numerator. And the inverse variation is this one. When you solve for y, x is on the denominator. So there's an inverse. Varies inversely. This varies directly as x. Now, if you have more than x and y, you have g. And it looks like they are all varies directly, right? When they are all varies directly, we say varies jointly. So when you see varies jointly, it means directly. Jointly means all the variables, they are varies directly. So without telling you directly, jointly already means directly. How about if you have y equal to kx, that's directly, but the g on the numerator, on the denominator, then you cannot say jointly, even though it looks like a joint together, right? But the jointly means all varies directly. So if you have x on the numerator, g on the denominator, then you may say y varies directly with x and inversely with g. You need to say more detail. In this case, we call this combined variation. Combined variation is combined directly and inversely all together. But the jointly is not combined variation. Jointly, only one type of variation called varies directly. Right? So, why the name is so important? Because I said the order problem is going to provide you with the formulas, but sometimes they don't really give you the equation. They provide you with the name of the equation. So if you don't remember the equation with the name, then you cannot use it. You don't know how to use the name of the formula. So that's very important. Please spend time to just memorize the name of the formulas directly or inversely. So number 2, we just understand in order to clear out the denominator, you need to multiply with the LCM or with the LCD. Number 3, this is the rate variation because when you solve for y, x and y are both the numerator. And the number 4, a person swam 5 laps in 8 minutes and 10 laps in 60 minutes. So looks like y divided by x on these two datas. Y divided by x, they are the constant number, always a over 5. When you reduce, divide by 2, it's always a over 5. Okay? So this means the rate variation. Now start from number 5. They don't ask you the name of the variations. They only ask you to solve for, this one asks you to solve for y. But number 6, there's no y. So which one you need to solve for? You need to solve for t or solve for q, depends on the question. The question will tell you solve for q. Number 7, solve for f. Number 5, solve for y. Otherwise, you may solve for w, solve for a, solve for d, solve for whatever you want. Okay, so you need to follow the instruction to solve for the equation. When the equation has so many unknown numbers, so many variables, then what you have to do, you follow the instruction. So like number 6, you want to solve for q, right? So solve for q is a solve for q in terms of t. And the number 5, you say solve for y in terms of w, a, and d. If w, a, and d are real numbers, then you don't need to say that, right? So formally, I suppose to say solve for y in terms of w, a, and d. But right now we simply say solve for y, and you understand. On the answer, you had w, a, and d, right? Now, how to solve for that? I show my work on the red color here. Given, start from given, I multiply w and d on both sides of the equation. So first, left hand side I get rid of w, right hand side I get rid of d. So, and then how I solve for y? I divide by d on both sides. Okay, so those type of calculation actually is Algebra 1 level, but probably more complicated. So that's why you need to spend time to work on that. So I show my detailed work. You can read by yourself and you can try your own homework. Make sure you are able to do it by yourself. And the calculation, very complicated, but I show my detailed work. So same thing on the test. You are required to show the detailed work. Okay. Wow, like number 10. My work is really long. Now, number 10, there's a new skill I would like to, and the number 9, same thing. Number 9 is a new skill I would like to show you is you can try to use a reciprocal. Okay. When it's already been solved for R, but you would like to solve for T, right? So you would like to have T on the numerator. Then how you do it? If you can flip upside down the numerator denominator, you make a t on the numerator. So first you make a reciprocal. R over 1 become 1 over R. D over 1 minus t become 1 minus t over d. And then you clear out the denominator d. So you have 1 minus t. T is on the numerator. And then after you take away 1, okay, you take away 1, then you have negative t. And then how you solve for t? You multiply negative 1 on both sides. So I go over number 9 for you. And the number 10, same thing. You can make a reciprocal. So for example, if you have 3/4 equal to 6 over 8, that's true, right? And if I make a reciprocal 4 over 3, do you believe it equals to 8 over 6? If you make a reciprocal on the left hand side, you need to make a reciprocal on the right hand side in the same time. Then the equal sign still keep equal. So you are allowed to do that. And another review is the opposite. If you have 3/4 equal to 6 over 8, negative b equal to something, but you want to solve for v, so you update both sides. Like you have negative. Okay, so if you have negative 2 equal to x, therefore, if you multiply negative sign on both sides, so 2 equals to negative x, right? Number 11, solve for C. This type of question, usually when you have three denominators, you can simply just multiply all these three denominators, CRS, to each term, and then you can get rid of the denominator. I show my work here, you can read. So number 12, be careful. Can you reduce W and the W just here? Can you do that? W and the W? No, you cannot do that. Because when you reduce, you want to make sure it's multiplication, okay? So you need to multiply W on both sides of the equal sign. If you multiply W on both sides of equal sign, then it becomes multiplication, then you can reduce these two. Okay, you can reduce these two. Okay. So same thing. Calculating is complicated, so you have to work on the calculating by yourself. Now, 7.5, you need to focus on the calculation, because as long as you understand the name of the formula, you don't need to spend too much time on learning the formulas. But most important thing is how you calculate. And 7.5, if you say my foundation is too weak, I cannot calculate anything, that's okay. You can spend more time on this homework, and you can ask questions, and any detailed calculating steps, we can try to fix it step by step. As long as you are you want to spend time to learn, then that's fine. You ask me in the class time, I can help you. Don't worry about that, because I don't assume every one of you have already have very strong foundation from Algebra 1. That's fine, okay? But you do want to practice to make sure your calculating skill is strong enough to keep going on. You can see that Algebra 2 calculation, nothing is easy, simple. No simple, easy calculations. Okay, so don't always assume, oh, that's careless mistake. No, every careless mistake is a real mistake, and it's going to happen again and again. How to prevent your mistake or so-called careless mistake? You need to show me your work, and then I'm going to fix your mistake for you by reading your work, reading your mistake, and fix your mistake. That's the best way I can teach you and improve your calculation. Okay, so don't be afraid to show me your calculation. That's okay, and then I can find the problem, find the error from your work, and fix the problem for you. And that's the quick way to learn. So keep going to number 13. See, they tell you y varies directly as x. So if you memorize the formulas, then you can use this formula. Now, this type of order problem, first you need to solve for k. Mostly you have to solve for k. So step 1, you solve for k. After you solve for k, mostly they ask you what's the equation. So many students, they ask you what's the equation, you only solve for k. Then you only earn half of the credit. And yeah, some question they only ask you to find k, that's fine. But mostly they ask you to find the equation. So how you find the equation? You just plug in this number back to the equation, replace the number k, then you have the equation. Okay. Number 14. Number 14, same thing. Y varies inversely as x. So you need to remember the right formula and then solve for k. After you solve for k, then you plug in k back to your equation, you have the function. So number 15, similar. Okay. Keep going. And the number 16, same thing, they give you varies inversely. So you need to find the right formulas and solve for k. After solve for k, you find the equation. Always repeating the same thing. So I'm not going to go through every detail for water problem for you. You just do your water problem, and if you have problem, you can go back to read my work. Okay. Now, y varies, number 19, y varies directly as, usually we say as x, right? But right now it's as the square of x. If we say varies directly, then this form, and the square of x, you just make a square here. Now number 20, y varies jointly as x and g. Wow, I think I made a mistake on number 20. Jointly means x and y here, right? So sorry, I need to fix this one. I made a mistake here. How come? Okay, let me do this one. Okay, so jointly means k, x, g. They are all numerator or directly. So how to do it? When y is 36, let me show the work. When y is 36, y is 36. When x is 9, g is 4. Therefore, you can solve for k equals to 1. When k equals to 1, this is 1, right? So y equals to xg. Done. I made a mistake here. Okay, I need to fix it. Now, on the test, you may also make a mistake, and you are going to earn 0 credit. Same thing, when teacher make a mistake here, I earn no credit here from my students. Same thing, okay? So everyone may make a mistake, but for the test, if you make a mistake, you may have partial credit or you may have 0 credit. Number 21, varies directly as the square of the speed. So you just read and do it by yourself. Inversely means I and the d square is on, one is numerator, one is denominator. Number 23, jointly. Jointly, this time I did right? Jointly means all on the numerator, and then you solve for v. Now this question, you probably cannot find a very nice number, so approximately this symbol not equal, okay? Almost equal. Almost equal. You can use calculator and round your answer. Say round to the nearest integer. So that's why round to the nearest integer. For example, if you have 127.56789, after the decimal number, if that belongs to this group, then you round up plus 1, so become 128. Now, if you have a number, it's about 1, 2, 3, 4. 128.1.2.3.4, then that's way too small, so you just get rid of that. So 128. That's how you round. And inversely, number 24, inversely with the square of x. That's the equation. And the number 25, I guarantee this type of question will be on our test. Okay. On our test, probably even more complicated. We had directly and the inversely together. So that's the cube of the wind speed. So this, oh, okay. And there is directly with cube of speed v. And then how to do the calculation? You need to really do it by yourself. Don't read my work and then copy, memorize my steps. It won't work because Algebra 2, at this level of the calculation, you have so many different type of steps, and it depends on who you are. You may want to have step 1 first or step 2 first. Doesn't matter, as long as it's legally done, it's all correct, then that's fine. And you never can memorize what's my first step, your teacher's first step. I change all the time. So don't try to memorize my steps. You need to really calculate. Depends on your will. You try to really do it by yourself, and if you find something wrong, you check with me, that's okay. Or retry, or you can, after you try, then you may read my work to see which one is better. You can learn from my work, but don't just memorize my steps. It won't work this way. Okay, you have to understand and use your own brain to tell you what's your own first step, what's your own second step. Okay, so this, I'm done with chapter 7 today, and then if you have question, you may ask me in the class time. So see you next time. Bye bye.